All right, guys, what's going on? It is Kyle here, and today we're going to go over these beautiful properties right here and actually talk mainly about this one right here. So I've got a few questions from people just talking or asking me more about how I got started in real estate and kind of my path on the rental side, how I got started. So just wanted to talk to you about these first two properties. These are the first two houses that I bought back in 2012. And a lot of people think that I must have been loaded, had a ton of money to get started. Well, the reality was I bought these two pieces of junk for $5,000 roughly, and I'll show you the settlement statement here in a second. But so I actually purchased this property first, and they were both for sale. My memory slips me a little bit. I think this one was actually for sale first, but they were both on the market, and this is the one I purchased first. So it needed a little bit more work than this one. So I forget the dates between the two, how long apart I purchased them, but I bought this one, and then it was probably a couple months later I purchased this one and decided to go ahead and start working on this one. So let's flip through some of the photos. Actually, the first thing I'll note, this one had a metal roof, so it was fine. This one had an asphalt shingle roof, and it was actually still of good. It had some good life left to it, and I actually still have the same roof on it today. But really, it had vinyl siding that was in good shape. But really, what looks bad is this front, the fascia, and then these posts were peeling real bad, and the landscaping is obviously super ugly. So here's some of the inside photos. We'll just flip through them. You can tell very severely smoked in, this yellow on the doors and the door frames. That is actually like residue from smoke. So ceiling tile, I don't like ceiling tile, but a lot of times in these older houses, it has plaster and lath and the ceiling is starting to crumble. So they would put these ceiling tile in because it's super quick and super cheap. And it's just an option to cover all that up. So ended up, I believe what I did was I cleaned and repainted all the the metal, and then replaced all the ceiling tile. So here you can see where some of the plaster is just not in great shape. You got paper peeling off of it, so on and so forth. So this house was a shotgun style house, which means that you open up the front door and you can pretty much see all the way through to the back of the house. I think the shotgun means more or less you could shoot a shotgun and it would spray through the whole house. I don't really know. But regardless, I put, this has been so long ago, I hardly remember this, but we put a wall up. I believe my dad helped me lay this out. So we built a hallway going back and separated the bedroom off so that you don't have to really walk through it. We created a hallway. So here you can tell the washer and dryer used to be here, which we moved that. Here's the living room. The floor was just real gross and needed, a lot of this stuff needed peeled up. Ended up just putting carpet back in here. I saved this baseboard, just repainted it. But the walls, I pretty much retextured all the walls. And I did that with drywall compound. Just put it on a trowel, smear it over, and then you stipple it, I guess, and then you knock it down. So it not beautiful, but for a rental like this, it works great. So just very dirty. Here's some more shots. Okay, so here's before. This vent's open. You got holes here, ugly. Landscape is horrible. Grass is horrible. And there's an after shot. So you can tell, I really didn't spend a ton of time on the outside, but you can fix it up real simply. Put some new numbers on, put new paint, put some new plates down here. I don't know what you call those, like kicker, I don't know. Some landscaping, got some grass growing, put in a new sidewalk that didn't cost very much. That was probably like $300-400. So here's the after shots. Again, this is nothing perfect. I did pretty much all the labor myself. My dad would come over, and then I had a buddy named Austin who would come help me too. We'd spend evenings over here. So painted everything. Killam beige was the color in 2012. That's what we went with. So carpet, clean everything up. There's that wall I was talking about. This was the bedroom in here. Used to be all open, but we separated it and cut in a doorway. There's the bedroom right there. My tenants now have a bed right there. This is in the bedroom looking in the kitchen. There's her closet. This back bedroom, I remember we had to put new subfloor down. The ceiling was all sort of swoopy and nothing we could really do about that, but painted it, cleaned it up, really got everything looking good. Shower's been kind of a pain in the butt. We had to put this like trim around it. I would not recommend that. It's been a pain. But these older houses, you've got to learn to not cut corners, but you got to fix things where it's cost effective. It still works, and yet it's not rebuilding the whole house, because a lot of these houses have settling issues. Things aren't completely square flat, so you just have to learn to work with what you got. Okay, this is a different project. Don't know why that's in there. So a few more shots of the kitchen. We had this on hand. Dad had this in one of his shops, stored somewhere as like actually that might have been in his basement, like a butcher block top that we cut down and put in there. Kitchen, same kitchen. Here you see I painted the angle black. There's a refrigerator. So here's the buyer statement here. You can see where the sale price on it was $5,500. And with some of the fees, brought up to $5,620. But then after I was credited for taxes, the closing amount, the amount that I needed to bring to the table to buy the property, was $4,568.18. So that's pretty dang cheap. Now, someone who has money and wants to get into investing, I probably wouldn't advise them to get into something like this. I would classify this as a pretty low income area. It's not the greatest neighborhood. It's a good rental area, but not necessarily the safest sometimes. I guess if you have money, I would probably try to get into a little better area, maybe a little nicer of a property. But I just wanted to prove the point that in rural Midwest, there are deals like this, maybe even not the Midwest, but purchase this property for around $5,000. I wish I would have kept better records of how much I put into it. I'm gonna guess I probably put in $5,000 into it, and the reason why that's so low is literally it took a long time to finish it, but just use scraps and the cheapest stuff I could find. Just to get it all together. And I remember my first tenant, his name was Leroy, and he lived there for probably a little less than a year. But I remember I was 18 maybe at the time, going over there, knocking on the door, collecting the rent, and I don't know, he was a strange dude. He had all the windows blacked out with like black shades, and the house was always pitch black, and I always had this weird feeling going over there. But I remember collecting that rent and just being like, whoa, this is so cool. And I remember my account, I grew it to like $3,000, collected $3,000 worth of rent. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is my career right here. I'm going to keep doing this. But so that's the first house I did. The next one I moved to was over here. It was quite a bit more work intensive. Actually re-drywalled the whole thing, did new wiring, and had some foundation issues. So we'll talk about that another time. But this was the first one. This is what got me started. Nothing beautiful, but got me towards that end goal of buying bigger and better. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, comment below. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you in the next one.